So if I may begin by handing the floor over to you, Raheem, for opening remarks, and we'll move down the table from there.
All right, usually I'd start just by getting straight into it, but I want to single somebody out here. Is Peter Walker from The Guardian here? No show. Right, the reason we were kicked out of Parliament is because Peter Walker at The Guardian decided that he would tip off Conservative Party HQ and he would target us and this event because we're beyond the pale. Our views are beyond the pale. We shouldn't be on the parliamentary estate. Saying what? That we want Brexit. That's all this is. And bless Ben, he's had to deal with this for the last couple of days. It's no surprise to me that that would happen. The Conservative Party has shifted so much in recent years. You know, I was standing on the balcony at County Hall, shamefully, standing behind David Cameron in 2010. What was it? Vote Blue, Go Green?
Yeah, there were lots of good ones.
Yeah.
Change to Win.
And it just
Has
hasn't.
up the deficit.
Yeah, double the national debt, all of that.
Yeah.
And it just hasn't been the same since. And it's a lot of it is because we've lost our way. We've lost our way as a movement. We've lost our ability to stand up and speak when they try and shut us down. And I'm here to say that we're not having it anymore. You know, I flew in this morning from Florida. And I was sitting there at Mar-a-Lago with the President of the United States and his son and a whole host of White House administration people. And they all want to know, Raheem, what's going on? We want to do a trade deal with you. We're ready. What's the hold-up? What am I supposed to say to them? Theresa May. It's not an excuse. It's not an excuse because it's our fault in a lot of ways. And so, while Ben has hyped me up a little bit today, I want to make myself a little bit unpopular in this room today. Okay? I wrote a book last year called Enoch Was Right.
Yeah.
And it was in 1974, none of you in this room will remember, of course, that he decided to campaign for the Labour Party. He said, you know what, enough is enough. Ted Heath, the Conservative Party have lost their way. They're not offering us anything. They're not even offering us an out, something to campaign for. We had at least the Labour Party to campaign against. And he knew that. So what I'll say today is that I think we may find ourselves in a similar situation, where the Conservative Party has so significantly lost its way that it needs to be forced into opposition. And only by forcing it into opposition will we force it back to the right. Only in forcing it into opposition will we force there to finally be some actual Conservative candidates out there. I'm sorry to say this, but one of our torchbearers over the last few months was supposed to be on this panel. Was the sponsor of our room tonight in Parliament, Andrea Jenkins. And Andrea Jenkins pulled out of this event and pulled our room because she couldn't, quote, sit on a panel alongside a known Islamophobe like Raheem Kassam. Just think about that. I grew up in a Muslim family. I know Islam inside out. But she wouldn't sit next to me on that panel. And this is supposed to be one of our greatest torchbearers. It's completely unacceptable. Look, I know exactly what's going to happen. I don't know how many media people are in this room, but I know what's going to happen. The headlines tomorrow are going to say, Bow Group event, man gets up there and talks about Enoch Powell. Let's have it. No, let's have it. Because people out there in the country know exactly what Enoch said, and they know exactly that he was right to say it. And in fact, what did he say? He said, I do not have the right to not say it. And we find ourselves in the same situation today. Theresa May is Ted Heath. Right? The Conservative Party has long lost its way. The path, and this you have to take this away with you, the path to a re-emergence of Toryism does not come from Boris Johnson. It does not come from Michael Gove. It damn hell doesn't come from David Lidington. But what do we have? Who do we have left? I don't know if I should endorse a candidate here because it probably won't work out so well for him, but I happen to believe that David Davis is perhaps the only person that can see us through this mess. look, maybe my approach will land us with a couple. Socialism, right? Marxism, thank you. But what's the point when we have Marxism emanating from within the Conservative Party? We have cultural Marxism emanating from within the Conservative Party. It is probably the thing that unites most Tory MPs at the moment, is their deference to the sleeping giants campaigns and the anti-free speech stuff. Over and over again, we've seen the Conservative Party roll over. So why would we want to reward them by saying, oh, well, you know, I'm sure Boris will be slightly different from Theresa May and that will be the solution to all our problems. I just don't happen to think it's the case. Socialism will not be defeated by horse trading within the Conservative Parliamentary Party anyway. It has to be defeated. You know, robbing Peter to pay Paul, you know, it's not going to, it's hiding to nowhere. So I don't really fear a Corbyn government, and I don't think a Corbyn government would last particularly long anyway, but it would be the kicking that the Conservative Party needs. Much like if we were to have another round of European parliamentary elections in this country, the Conservative Party would soon find out where it isn't and where it needs to be. Again, the Labour government after February 74 wasn't built to last, and in fact it did not last. And it led to one of the greatest prime ministers we've ever had. The country saw what the opposition was, what the alternatives were. And the Conservative Party isn't there at the moment. And sure, Mrs. Thatcher had her faults and had her views on the European Economic Community then. But I am of the belief that she would stand with us today, the Brexiteers today. I don't think anybody could doubt that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how many of you will remember, but at that speech in 74, when Enoch Powell got up and he said, it's time to vote Labour to kick this Conservative Party out, somebody stood up there and said, Judas, Judas. And without skipping a beat, Powell responded, Judas was paid. I am making a sacrifice. And it's about time we all made that sacrifice and made the Conservative Party pay the ultimate sacrifice and kicking them out of power and allowing us to, from the ground up, and Ben will talk a little bit about this, I hope, or at least some of our other panelists will, there is no democracy within the Conservative Party anymore. And that is something that will not come to pass again if we just allow them to keep not even electing, reappointing prime ministers on our behalf. Yeah. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Raheem, thank you.